In this video, we tackle somebody who claims they have irrefutable proof that the Earth is a stationary plane. Can he be right? Yeah, I know he's not right, I'm just doing the intro. Alright, Del, right, I'll tell you one more and then it's time for bed, okay? Right. Knock knock. Europe. I know, it's funny, isn't it? Alright, night night, buddy. Sweetheart. Oh, hello. I'm not that popular with everybody though. Let's look at Chatbox Travels.
Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Now, by the way, I'm thinking of either scrapping Chatbox Travels, number 2, giving it its own series and taking it out of the normal videos, or 3, just keeping it as it is. Let me know if you've got a preference. Let's start here.
My name is Tony Ward. You're a slaphead, cheap bastard with copy guitars. I'm gonna call you Thrush, you boring sheep.
Look, Tony, for the last time, it's not a copy. It's a real Fender. Oh, screw you. Right, Tony leaves me a lot of love letters like that, so I thought I'd check his channel out to see what kind of a guy he was. This is what I found. Yes, I found that. Literally the most boring video on the internet. That's all it does. Apparently it proves to us that the Illuminati are in control. So there's an insight into the great mind, which is Tony Ward Deja Vu. Thank you, Tony. Let's see who else is in my chat box.
Hello, my name is Flatten. I'm a little bit upset that you make these videos. Why are you making videos telling people they're wrong? I don't like it when people get told they are wrong. You are an arse. Why do you tell people they're wrong? Maybe it's because you actually think they're right. Don't tell them they're wrong.
Well, there's Flatten, who came on my channel to tell me I was wrong. Amazing. This next guy, he thinks he knows me.
Oh, my name's James Powell, and I'm here to tell you that teachers are more interested in trying and failing to keep their knickers or pants on long enough to think at all, shag each other's wives and partners, and the odd student or two. But they're all corrupt.
Hi, is that the police? Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to report a stalker, please. Yeah. Yeah, this guy sent me an email. He's clearly been following me. Yeah.
But there is some sense out there. This is new Conspiracy Cat subscriber Savatube. This is what he had to say in the video where we were responding to Anthony Riley and the idea that density was the sole reason things fell.
And that's a good point. What he's basically saying is, if I take an object and put it on water and it floats, then if the density buoyancy only model was correct, then none of the object should be dipping into the water, where clearly it is. So well done. That's the end of Chatbox Travels. Now we're going to get on with some proper science.
Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Yeah, so in this video, we debunk the claim from somebody who suggests they have undeniable, irrefutable proof that the Earth is actually a stationary plane. I'm going to have to get the whiteboard out and do quite a bit of science at that bit. So before we get to that, let's have a warm-up. Let's look at somebody who requires literally no effort to debunk. It's our old friend, Execrate200. And if you can't remember his video, here we go.
In the face of overwhelming odds, I'm left with only one option. I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this.
Yeah, Execrate200 is a guy who thought that video there genuinely proved that the Earth was flat. Well, he's back! Take a look at this.
In the face of overwhelming odds, I'm left with only one option. I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this.
I doubt it. So we get 10 minutes of him zooming in and out in and out, in and out. Not saying a word, just zooming in and out on the moon. The climax of the video, though, is well worth the wait. And there we go. Apparently, seeing the moon in the sky when the sun is about to rise is proof somehow that the world is flat. That is so depressing. Before we get to the main event of this video, I need something to cheer me up. It's the conspiratard quiz!
Conspiratards!
Yes, competing this week we have Peter and Pete. And who are you up against?
I ain't talking about the flat earth and shit in a long fucking time. But check this out, look.
Yeah, cool, man. Okay, so here are the rules. I'm going to allow you both to ask me a question. But these questions must be common flat earth misconceptions. Whoever asks the best question will have that question answered by me, and you'll also gain a point on the board. It's the best of three. Delano TV, you go first.
When the sun rises, we can look straight at the fucking sun. We can just look at that bitch. But in the middle of the day, it's too bright to look at.
Okay, good question. Let's see what Peter and Pete have got.
Toilet paper's round, innit? Innit, eh?
Look.
Do you think this orbits the
That's
sun?
Right, Delano TV, your question one. Why can I look at the sun during sunset but not during the middle of the day? Well, the reason being, in the middle of the day when the sun is high up here, the sunlight is focused on a smaller area. So in other words, it's more intense. There are more photons per square meter or per square mile or whatever. It's more intense. When the sun's over here at sunset, the light is spread out over a bigger area, meaning there are less photons per square meter or per square mile, so the light is less intense. Now, there are other reasons as well, involving refraction, etc. But suffice to say, Delano TV, you strike first blood. Next question.
Check this out. If the earth is a fucking ball that spins thousands of miles per hour going through our space and going around the sun, shouldn't the stars look like a fucking blur in the sky?
Okay, Delano TV, good question. Peter and Pete, your turn.
Nobody can prove or demonstrate that there's hydrogen and oxygen that make up water.
Peter and Pete, nobody thinks that. Right, Delano TV, you win. Look, 2-1. Now, to answer your question, you've just got to look at the difference between linear speed and angular velocity. We rotate once in a 24-hour period. That's why the stars don't look like they are spinning round and round and round and round and round. It really is as simple as that. They do spin round. Right, circumpolar stars we can track. 24 hours it takes them to go around because that's the time it takes the Earth to spin. Done. Let's get on with the main event.
Hello, this is Andrew Innes from redsky.uk.net.
Hello, Andrew.
But I did say that we would absolutely prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that evolution never happened. And that's what we're going to do right now.
He's not.
And to help me explain it, I'm going to use my globe bar over here. Okay, so this is my globe bar, and as you can see, it opens up. Well, of course, our planet doesn't really do that. It doesn't open up and you can't put things inside it. But there's a couple of other things that this globe bar does that our planet also doesn't do. For example, it rotates. And our planet Earth does not rotate.
It chuffing does.
It is not turning around.
It chuffing is.
Now this globe bar is also on wheels, so it can move about. But our planet Earth...
Yeah, it's not on wheels. What we do... Nobody thinks that's the real Earth. Nobody's being confused between your globe bar and the real Earth. Just get on with what you're going to talk about.
So today we're going to prove that the Earth is the centre of the universe, that it's not moving, and we've done that in 3 videos. The first one is called The Evolution Delusion, Geocentricity Part 1. The second one is called Evolution Delusion, Geocentricity Part 2. And the final one is called...
Let me guess. Is it called the Evolution Delusion Part 3?
Evolution Delusion Part 3.
Check out Young Blue Skeptics channel. Link in the description below. You won't regret it.
This is Malcolm Bowden. I'd like to talk to you on the subject of the Earth being in the centre of the universe.
So, when I clicked on the Evolution Delusion Part 1, Andrew appears to have regenerated Doctor Who style into this cool cat.
What would you think of the whole university, all the universities around the world, who also refused to teach any of their students these three very important subjects, simply because they would drastically change our understanding of what this universe is alike?
So, our new friend claims that there are 3 experiments out there that are being hidden by universities and kept away from students because they prove that the Earth is a stationary plane. Well, in this video, I'm going to have a look at the first of those 3 experiments. And then, if I'm going to be ultra honest, the next time I run out of stuff to look at and I don't know what to make a video on, I'll have a look at the other 2.
Now, you are looking at this liner and it suddenly dawns on you that perhaps it's not the liner going round you, it is perhaps you are going round the liner. And you cannot tell which way round the motion is going, whether it's the liner going round you or you going round the liner. But there is one very simple thing that you can do, and that is, all you have to do is to put your hand in the water.
So, he's using an analogy here about being on a boat and looking at another boat. That other boat appears to be moving around you in a circle. But really, you could be moving around the other boat in a circle, and you won't know unless you can detect your own motion by putting your hand in the water and feeling the water move. Now, the analogy really relates to the Earth and the Sun. Is the Earth moving around the Sun? Right, the answer is yes. But how can we on Earth dip our hand in the water, if you like, to see that we are absolutely moving? Let's listen on.
Michelson and Morley set up an experiment with 2 long tubes at right angles to each other.
So the Michelson and Morley experiment does need quite a lengthy explanation. So I'm going to use analogies and simplify the explanation just so this video doesn't go on, for another half an hour. If you feel like I've missed anything, feel free to put it in the comment section. So Michelson and Morley shone a light source into their apparatus, and at the centre of their apparatus, on an angle, was like a little semi-transparent mirror. Let's think of it like that. This would allow some of the light through, but it would reflect some of the light up here to another mirror, where it would bounce back down again. Any of the light that passed through would hit this mirror here, and it would bounce back again. And these 2 light rays would, after meeting here, would be reflected or will be passing through here to the eye of the observer, which is what I've drawn there. Now, if you remember back to school and doing young slits, diffraction gratings, etc., you'll know that when we get 2 light rays meeting, they will interfere with each other constructively and destructively, and we'll get an interference pattern. Essentially what I mean is we get a certain pattern of bright and dark spots appearing here. That's number 1. Right, number 2. They were trying to detect the ether. I want you to think of the ether as the medium that light travels through. So like water is the medium a fish travels through. Now, as the Earth moves, so this board represents something on the Earth. As the Earth is moving, the Earth itself is moving through the ether. And what we are going to suggest is that as the Earth, like a fish swimming down a stream, as the Earth moves this way, then as it moves through the ether, there's more, and again, this is an analogy, okay? There's more drag or more friction on this light ray than there is on this one, because this is traveling in that direction, pushing against that water, pushing against ether. So as we move that way, this light ray is going to be affected. But if I take my apparatus and I tilt it round, then I'm changing the effect of that relative movement through the ether. It becomes more apparent on this ray and less apparent on that as I turn my apparatus here. And I should be able to see that by a change in the interference pattern there. That's point number 2. Point number 3. It didn't matter how they turned it. They didn't see the difference that they might have expected. They saw very little or no difference on the interference pattern.
And to their astonishment, they found that they were not going round the Sun at all. We were in fact pretty well stationary, it seemed. This threw the whole of the scientific community into complete chaos. So they very quickly rushed out, you might call it, and invented what is known as the Fitzgerald-Lorentz contraction. And they claimed that perhaps one of these long tubes was shortened when it was going at right angles to the direction of motion. Now that is the only one of the 4 experiments that indicate that we are not going round the sun, but the sun, the moon and the stars are in fact rotating round us.
Unfortunately, drawing the conclusion from that investigation that the Earth is stationary is the wrong conclusion. As fantastical as it sounds, and this is where I really love physics, as fantastical as it sounds, the speed of light is a constant. Now what that means is, let's imagine you're chasing a car down the street and the car is travelling at 30 metres per second and you're running at 10 metres per second behind the car. You would think that car would travel away from you at a relative speed of 20 metres per second. Fantastic. But if that car was a photon, if that car was actually light, if the car was travelling at 30 metres per second and you ran behind it at 10 metres per second, the car would still be travelling away from you at 30 metres per second. Wherever you observe light, whether it's coming towards you or away from you, or however fast you're moving towards it or away from it, you will always see it travelling at the same speed. Now, the only way that can be accomplished is if time itself actually, and it is amazing, if time itself actually changes when something starts to be moving very quickly. This is the equation that we teach at A-level physics for time dilation. Essentially, the faster you move, the slower time can appear to be. Now, I can already hear Del and Gav and a lot of people saying, oh, it's an equation on a whiteboard and he's talking absolute nonsense. But the fact is, that very equation is used to predict real world events. So in a particle accelerator, tiny particles that decay, when they are accelerated to certain speeds, this equation accurately tells us how much longer they are going to survive for without decaying. It actually tells us how much longer their half-life is going to be, and it's right every single time, to the point. The Healy-Keaton experiment I talked about in the last video, where we put atomic clocks on planes, flew them around the Earth and looked at the time difference, it was predicted by that very equation. And the time difference was exactly the time difference that that equation predicts. And it's when we get to ideas like this that really blow your mind, we go one of two ways. We do have to trust in the real geniuses out there that really, really grasp it and just sit in awe and wonder. Or we smirk, we pretend not to understand it because it's too difficult, and we look at level water. Choice is yours.